good evening, morning, midday to anyone who is already watching. Welcome to a fun little stream we are doing as a in between during the campaign. I am joined by Emily, who is playing Zilmoira in the campaign.
Hi.
Welcome, Emily. And I talked about this a little bit last week during the stream. We're going to do a segment called Building Aeternia, where I will go through a few things like geography, religions, factions, stuff like that, history, to create a bit of a feeling for the campaign world, as I'm using a lot of homebrew stuff. And because I made most things myself, it will be unbeknownst to people, like the Pantheon. I named 2 gods last time, and I'm pretty sure no one knows what they are or what they do. So, we'll be starting with geography today, which is probably going to be a smaller bit, as I'm just going to explain some of the countries, mountain ranges, stuff like that. So, yeah, we're just gonna see how long it'll take us to get through this entire continent, which is one of a few, but most of the campaign will most likely take place on this one. Before we'll actually start, I have a few announcements. This will be the first building Aeternia until we get affiliated. After that, we will continue it most likely, but maybe on a different day. Depending on when reruns will be launched. The VOD of this stream will be available next Friday, and next Monday we will have episode 5 of our campaign stream, which will most likely be the conclusion of the very first small story arc we've been working on for the last... It's almost been 20 hours already, so that's going to be fun. Next up, we have, I talked about this last time, we are supporting our local game store, the Game Force in Eindhoven, the Netherlands. And to do that, we are calling them out right now. There's a link in our Twitch and in the YouTube VOD to our Discord and our Facebook. If you haven't joined already, you can click those links and join us. You will find news about upcoming events and stuff like that.
I also posted it in the chat for people who want to join in.
I think I have a bot moderator that doesn't allow links.
Nope.
Really?
It allowed this one.
Really? That's weird.
The bot broke.
Well, I only see stars.
It didn't work last time.
I only see stars in my chat. So, the camera got new. Oh, it's back. Last Saturday, June 5th, here in the Netherlands, things finally were allowed to open up again, and so also our local game store. And with that, we are starting Magic the Gathering events, Yu-Gi-Oh events, Pokemon events, and most importantly, D&D events. So we can finally socialize in person with friends again. So that's amazing. So next Thursday, June 10th, we will have our first of hopefully many one-shot nights where 4 DMs will be hosting a one-shot, and we still have room. So if you go to the site, you can still click on a table, reserve a spot. Yep. Emily will be DMing. Her table is already...
Mine's full. I'm fully booked. Yeah. I got a D&D one-shot level 5. But there is one of the DMs, Stefan, who also plays in our campaign. He has 1 spot left on his level 8. There is a table with a level 1 for starting with Cyril, who is someone you guys don't know yet, but he's a really good DM. I played at his table, and he's actually really good.
He is.
And Robin is doing not a D&D game, but a different game, Magical Kitties Save the Day, which is going to be amazing, and I want him to DM that more often, because I really want to play, but I was already DMing, so I couldn't, so I'm
unfortunately
actually kind of peeved.
So there is something for everyone. There are beginner one-shots. There are fun alternatives. I believe someone run Pathfinder before we stopped doing it. We are
Sometimes Star Wars.
Star Wars happens. Goblin Heist.
Yeah.
Just for I believe someone did a level 20 one-shot once. That was awesome. Murder mysteries. You know, for everyone there is something to join. We only have very few spots every week, unfortunately, because of Corona. But after Corona is gone, we are allowed to, allow walk-ins, have more people at a table, and hopefully we can go back to how we started. Because the first night we did it was like 2 years back already. I got a kitty. And we had 8 DMs with almost 6 players per table, and we want to go back to that. So hopefully we can in the future.
Just know that when you book a table, there is a small entry fee with a forced consumption one, which comes to a total of 750, which is not a lot, but it's because the game store that we play in needs to pay rent. Uh, and we kind of want to support that, and that's also why we started the streaming on this channel. So, yeah, join in, have fun, make friends, do crime, save the world, and lovely kitties. Hello.
Please don't do crime. Crime is illegal, unless you don't
well,
get.
in game.
Oh yeah, true. In games you can do crime, sure.
Yeah.
As long as you don't, as long as you don't get caught, it's not illegal.
Yep. Have a high stealth.
True. So with that, I think we've talked enough about our local game store and what we're going to do in the near future. We're also working on some small extra streams, because you need to have 7 streams in a month time to be affiliated. So we are working on IDs. So if you're in chat or in the Discord or on Facebook, hit one of us up. If you have suggestions, maybe. Or in the YouTube comments if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to follow us on Twitch as well, because to be affiliated, we also need Twitch followers, like at least 50 of them. So that would be great if you would join us.
Nick.
Yeah, that's me.
Rowie, one of our players, asked if it was okay if he would join us on the stream still.
Yeah, sure.
He was a bit late.
No problem.
Okay.
Yeah. The more the merrier.
Aha.
The more the kittier. This is Fiona, by the way. She's 8 weeks old.
Oh my god.
She's so cute. I mean, this is a bit of a less serious stream. Like, campaign is a bit more serious, but we can goof around a little bit here.
Hello
so, hello. Rowie just joined us. He is
General
playing...
Kenobi.
He plays Akira, the guy with the boar for a mother.
Wereboar, yeah.
What? Yeah, no, the wereboar is your father, right?
Yeah, mother's human, right?
I think. The
wereboar is my father. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I thought you froze for a second. All right. So.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I couldn't hear you guys in Discord. But wait.
Can you hear us now?
No, I can't hear you guys in Discord. I don't know why. Let me check.
Interesting. Is anyone hearing a buzz on stream, by the way?
I'm not listening to the stream.
Why not? You should.
No, because then I hear you double with a delay.
Well, more me the merrier.
That's weird.
No,
that's, I don't hear you guys.
Interesting.
Okay. I don't hear buzzing on stream though, and I don't see you light up except for when you're talking. So
okay, great. That means my new settings actually work. That's great. That's also good to know half an hour into the stream. So.
Well, first 20 minutes this time were starting up and technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into my settings for a bit, see if I can change it so I can hear you guys in Discord because.
Okay.
No problem.
No problem.
In the meantime, I guess we're just going to talk about the geography of the land. As you can see, there is this huge ass map I have here, which is the continent of Aeternia. Aeternia is not the name of the world, it's just a continent. And most of the campaign will take place here. It kind of depends on, the whim of my players. If they want to go somewhere else, like Fireplane or something, who knows? Or, name something fun. The Abyss. The Abyss is fun. But yeah, their adventures on the material plane will commence on this continent right here. There are other continents, but for reasons unknown to my players and NPCs in the world, there's not much known about it. It is not on this map. I should have written it down, but if you go from the Red Sea down, it's what people in the world on this continent calls the unknown world, as it is so that whoever sails onto the ocean for new continents to discover, for new lands to explore, or trek through the Red Sea all the way south, they don't come back. And if people don't come back from adventures, they can't really talk about what they found. So there's a mystery there. I am not going to talk about now, or ever, maybe. Who knows? It kind of depends on what happens in the campaign or in follow-up campaigns, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I kind of want to go find my family. That's one of my goals.
I have no idea where they are.
Nope.
Well, I know exactly where they are, but I'm not telling.
My character doesn't even know if his family is still alive or not.
Same. Well, like Zelmoira is definitely convinced that they're still alive. But me as a player doesn't know and doubts it.
And I like keeping secrets.
Nick isn't gonna say
a lot of them.
Akira had to fly. Had to
why?
Run away in a hurry from his town.
You too.
Yeah. I used to live in a town that was not so good for others, so to say.
Really? D&D player characters have tragic backstories? Wow, who knew?
Mine's not that tragic. Well, sorta.
I mean, no sane person with a healthy family and a working business would go on adventure to kill dragons.
True.
Very true.
Unless your business is slaying dragons.
True.
Or claiming territory.
Well, or go into the army and become like a general and a very well fighter, and then you could become an adventurer. But
true.
Or slaying sea monsters as a sailor. But
also
come on, let's start.
Yes.
Let's go.
So we will be starting on the left here, where currently our campaign is taking place. We are right over there in Fort Castra. Fun fact, both Castra and Fort Imperis, both their names are Latin for fort or fortress. So those two cities are called Fort.
Wow.
Very creative.
I know, right? Google Translate helps me a lot with these things. I just think, all right, this is a nice word. How does it sound in Latin or Norse or something?
Yeah, makes me think of Moon.
Yeah. Dang
it, Moon.
That was kind of my take on it. So, all these 7 islands, of course, have names. There are some smaller islands that are not really noteworthy to put on a map. Like, they're small enough that maybe there are like 3 or 4 trees on them. So not really noteworthy. But there are 7 islands that are. So the top north island over here, where Fort Castra resides, is called Alintel. And it houses Fort Castra. It has some watery lakes. There is some forestation area, and there is a little bit of rough mountain terrain. If we go a bit south. This, by the way, is called the Golathon Archipelago. For those that didn't know that already. So
we're not gonna have a test, are we?
Yes, you are.
Oh no!
I mean, your characters in the campaign should know some of this stuff. I mean,
True.
You've been living on the northern island for... Zelmora has been living there for 10 years, so she kind of should know what the islands are called. Maybe I should have told you sooner. Maybe. Anyway, the second island here is called Ballastia. On the northern edge here, there is a port city called Arwalla, which is the main port. And all the way to the south here is Bastion, which is the closest city built to Ashen Peak, which is a huge-ass volcano where things like diamond mines reside. There is a smaller island over here, which is called Cretana, with on the northern point is Fort Imperis. This larger island is Deos, which houses Ashen Peak. This is also a bit of a more rugged island. There's a lot of mountainous terrain. And then there are 3 smaller islands. This one over here, due to its interesting positioning between the other islands, has very rough currents around it and is very hard to navigate around, which is called Everest.
You forgot the T there.
What?
Everest. You forgot the T. Never mind. I'm joking.
Everest. Everest.
I understood Everest.
No, there's an I in there. There's an I in Everest.
Hey, I'm just here to screw up your
I know. We are here to have fun. This island here is Frohan, which is mostly uninhabited. There is some forestation area on the southern edge. But there are no settlements there. And all the way over here to the east is right, yeah, I always have to think about that, is Galakos. Yeah, what?
No, I was just about to say, I always have to think about east or west, but you made a thingy at the top.
Yeah, also true. Which is called Galakos, and Galakos is, if I move the map up slightly, ships that come from Port Cali most of the time make a stop at Galakos before going up north to the 3 main port areas. There is no established city yet on Galakos, but people are working on that currently. So that is a little bit of the archipelago. There are 7 islands. If you paid attention, you notice that the island starts with A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Because I am very creative.
Sounds like a Dutch thing.
ABC Island.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Aruba, Bonaire,
Curaçao. And then you have the 3 S's.
And you also have Tevetas.
Wow.
I mean, non-Dutch speakers have no idea what that means.
The north of the Netherlands has a few islands, and the names spell out TV bag in Dutch. Tevetas.
Exactly. So the archipelago consists of a lot of islands, most of them very small and not noteworthy. And these are the 7 main islands that are being inhabited, that are used for trade. There are mines found on Deos. There is some forestation. And the interesting thing about the archipelago is that it's one of the first areas that was reclaimed from the Elder Dragons. Thus, why they have these very robust settlements built already. Most of the other settlements across the continent are rather new, except a few which have been standing for quite a while and have been withstanding dragons for quite a while. But the archipelago currently is probably one of the more advanced areas of the continent because they have been dealing with dragons the least.
Yep.
So when we go to the mainland, I took a lot of inspiration from Northern America to create this continent. So with some free liberties, of course. So I'm gonna pull the map up a little bit. We're gonna take a look at the Red Sea, the last, I think.
You mean there's a Vegas on this map? I want to go to Vegas.
There is a casino somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not shady, by the way, but there is one.
Definitely. I would expect that. I wouldn't expect anything other than that.
So, the most noteworthy about this continent, because of dragons, there aren't really any kingdoms yet. There were a total of 10 elder dragons. I'm going to talk about them in a separate stream, talking about the elder dragons. There were 10 of them, 5 chromatic, 5 other one, metallic, that's the one I was looking for. 7 of them have been slain, 5 of the chromatic ones and 2 of the metallic ones. The other 3 metallic have gone in hiding because Dragonborn and Dragonkin, like Lizard Folk, have been persecuted for a while now. So most of the land currently is undivided. There are no kings. There are not really any borders. Communities are starting to establish some. There are some families that are calling themselves noble houses. I will talk about those separately in like a faction stream or like a noble family stream, or noteworthy personas. But for now, we're just talking geography, no borders, except natural ones. There are 2 noteworthy mountain ranges. We have from here north to south, from Zandar Bay all the way down here. These are, I think my camera froze on my map.
Yep.
Yeah, it did. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. Did that do something? No? Alright, you're just gonna have to look at my hand for a while now.
Nick, maybe you should do your mouse pointer as...
I am using a separate camera for this.
Yeah, he's using his phone.
Yeah, but you're capturing Discord, right?
I am capturing Discord, yeah.
So...
you use your mouse to hover over it.
Yeah.
I can do that. So, can you see my mouse now?
Maybe...
Not yet, because the thingy is delayed on stream.
No, there's no mouse pointer on screen. Maybe look into the settings.
I don't think I'm capturing my mouse. I am going to real quick reset my camera.
Oh no.
That should hopefully fix it.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Alright, sweet.
Working! It's working!
Well, it's working for you, it's not working for me. I am looking at 2 dots turning around on my screen.
Yep.
It's online for us. And
but he's capturing.
I am capturing,
the
so
stream doesn't see it.
I'm going to real quick go in and out to call and hope that fixes it.
You.
That actually did it. Sweet.
Huh.
All right.
Nice.
I'm gonna turn
on my. The stream isn't screwed up, but
well,
no, it's not.
Luckily, we're not.
If Nick shows his face, at least.
Yeah. Luckily, we're not like doing a.
They could see our secret messages.
Oh, very secret.
See if there wasn't anything inappropriate.
Luckily,
really.
Luckily, we're doing a less serious stream right now. Otherwise, this would have been embarrassing. So, there are mountains, as I was pointing at them. These are the Murkosh Mountains. They are named after the ancient red elder dragon that kind of inhabited most of this area. He was one of the dragons with the largest territories. He was killed last. He was the last dragon killed 23 years ago or 25 years ago, depending on which timeline you're using, like before the crystal teleported the party to where they are now with the 2-year gap. But in the time where they came from, it was 23 years ago. All the way down here, there are the Storm Mountains. So there are two noteworthy mountain ranges which kind of split up the continent in two, as there is a pass between them, which is where most of trade and such has to go through because it's easier. Or, all the way north over the ocean also works. Murkosh Mountains also houses the highest peak on the continent, Widow Peak, where a lake resides from which a river flows that goes all the way across this part of the continent, which most... there is also a river and waterfall coming from down here, which joins it here and goes to the ocean. I'll be very honest, I'm not very good at geography. I am not sure if this is how rivers actually work. I know they go from high to low.
Usually they come together from little streams join in on a big stream. But I have seen also in Egypt, the Nile at the end.
Yeah, like
the ocean,
like a delta. Yeah, like
yeah.
Devil's Tongue does that as well a bit. It comes from one point and it splits up multiple times. But it's a fantasy world, so I can do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
The gods did it.
The laws of physics don't apply to you.
Exactly. So there are two big mountain ranges from which most of the river flow across the continent comes from. There is one big noteworthy forest on this side of the mountain range, which is the Griftdar forest. I could tell you a lot of secrets about that forest, but I won't. I think I have to think. Yeah, those are the forests that Hakan comes from, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, he is an Corsican, Pip's character, lived in Griftdar for a while. So he came from over here somewhere.
Okay.
That's cool. So they live close together. Well, relatively.
Relatively, they did, yeah. I think, looking at the map, you all kind of lived close together a bit. I mean, you all kind of living in Fort Castra at the moment, so you live close together anyway. But from where your characters came from, I don't think any of them are from the far east of the continent, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I kind of chose the middle. I'm from Ziltan Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Murkwater.
Which is over here.
Oh, so we were close.
It is. Yeah. It resides in Devil's Tongue. Devil's Tongue is towards the ocean. It has a little bit. It is a little bit like a Nile delta, but if you go deeper inland, it's more swamp and murky. And interesting, Murkwater. Well, not just Murkwater. Like Devil's Tongue as a whole. There are some lizard folk settlements there, in secret, of course, because
my character is from one of those settlements.
And because Dragonborn and lizard folk are being persecuted, so they have to go into hiding, and lots of people don't like swamps, so it's a good place to hide. Also, a lot of people don't like climbing mountains, so who knows?
Yeah.
So on the left of Murkosh Mountain, so on the west, this is probably the land that has the most influence on what is happening there, because there are 11 noble houses in total that are not really warring over it, but they're claiming land as their own, and it is kind of gaining the structure of a kingdom-esque territory, which is kind of the first looking at how things are being built up right now. I have another campaign running, which is like 300 to 400 years, like 2 eras into the future, which uses this same continent. And in that, basically, this pass here and this huge-ass forest over here are borders for 3 larger kingdoms that have been fully established. But right now, it's kind of a bit of a free-for-all. Let's see. So
call me Your Majesty. Long may I reign.
I mean, you can try.
First in her name.
You can try. Technically, like the archipelago, also there are some families there. Like in Fort Castra, you've met Urival, which is the mayor's daughter.
Yeah.
There are mayors and families there that rule over towns and stuff. Well, not really like a king, but they have a biggest say in what is happening everywhere. So there are communities and civilizations starting up, which has been taking a while because of dragons, you know.
Oh, we need to go to the mainland as fast as possible and build our own settlement.
I mean, you can.
Yeah, first we have to get off this island.
Yeah.
So, on the west of Mercos Mountains, you will find more lush hills, not really the dense forestry, except for Griftar Forest, but it's more hill-like, it's very lush, because, you know, rain clouds come, and when they go up the mountains, rain falls, and on the other side of the mountains, you know, it's still green. It's not like it's barren on the east side of the continent, but it's less so. It's less green. It's more swampy, hill structure. There are less trees and more bushes, stuff like that. So when we go to the west, to the east, because you know this area geographically is probably the least interesting of them all. When we go to the west, I talked a little bit about Devil's Tongue already. It's a bit of a Nile Delta swamp type combination with lizard folk settlements. It's very dense forestry, it's wet, and when we go a little bit to the south of it, we will find Zilton Forest. And Zilton Forest is very interesting because it's a very strange type of woods. It is. What?
I need to write this down. That's my home.
Yeah. There's a test coming on it. Zilton Forest. A lot of people think is that it's alive, which is kind of true, as Zilton Forest is home to a lot of tree folk and has a lot of elemental surgency throughout it. There are tabaxi communities living in moving treetops that occasionally can get raised by earth elementals or such. It's a very lively place where you have to watch out what you're doing.
Okay, good to know.
When we go south to where the Storm Mountains are, you will see Storm Mountains is probably one of the places that dragons had very little influence over, because there is a different entity there that rules over these mountains. His name is Wolnir, and he is a storm giant, and he does not take friendly to invaders. Storm Mountains themselves, because of the influence of storm giants that live there, have their snowy peaks are higher up. Their tree lines go higher up in comparison to normal mountains. And lightning storms are more frequently there because of storm giants and elemental influences. When we go a little bit north of the Storm Mountains, you will find Ventresh, which lies near the Scorched Flats. And the Scorched Flats are a place where one of the elder dragons was slain. The battle that killed it lasted days. Most of the dragons had army of their own, loyalists, dragonborn as well. So it wasn't just humans against dragons, there were armies clashing, and the Scorched Flats, as a result, as one of the biggest battlefields in the war against the Elder Dragons, has turned into almost like a volcano-style landship. The earth is barren, it is scorched, it is perpetual higher temperature there. It has a very magical influence to it, as it has been like that for about 25 to 30 years. If you have any questions, by the way, feel free to ask. I'm reading chat as well, so if someone is in chat and has a question about something, I can answer it. So otherwise, I'm just gonna keep on talking.
No, I have a question for another time because it's about my other character from the other campaign.
That's for a different. That's for a different campaign. We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
All right. So
because that other character is from Zilton Forest.
That is true.
That's why.
I have a very sleepy kitty in my lap right now, and she is so cute. All right. So.
Show me the money.
But I'll wake her up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, never mind then.
Are there any people living there? In the city of Ventrash, there are. It is a little bit north of the Scorched Flats, so it isn't really influenced by it. But in the Scorched Flats themselves, no people are living there, because you can't really go grow crops there. And to establish a community, one of the most important things is that you can feed your people. And if you're living in the if you're living in the Scorched Flats, you can't feed your people. That is a given.
Yeah.
That's
so
true.
To be fair, just around it would be very, very good.
Yeah, around it there are a lot of fertile lands because of volcanic influences. That is why on the archipelago, the Ashen Peak, there are very lush jungle areas around it.
Ooh.
And because of the volcanic activity that is there, the ground is very fertile. So, the dragons did something good, I guess. They created fertile land in some places. In some places, they just destroyed everything,
Whoopsie.
Well, it happens. That's also why you see that most cities, with a few exceptions, I mean, you have, let's see, over here, Port Acor, Port Bente, and Port Cali, all near the ocean. All the cities on the archipelago, all near the ocean.
And
Golan,
all
by rivers, except all the way to the right over there at the top, like there.
That's fairly close to the ocean, though.
It is fairly close, but it's like 1 or 2 days travel.
And it's also just close to a river, so.
Well, all the way up there, it isn't.
Oh.
Over here on the top right, Fenrir.
Right, it's not fully in screen, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
wait,
okay.
I can do like that a little bit on the top right, the little.
Yeah, Fenrir. Okay.
Yeah. That's not really near a river or ocean.
Wakon isn't.
Golan isn't really near an ocean. Yeah, but Wakon, on the other hand, is near forestation area, which also.
Yes. Quite fertile, that's true.
Yeah.
But there's not really water there though. But...
There isn't really any great water source there, but there are small ponds and such. But things.
There are magical means to have plants grow.
That as well.
Also true, and I mean you are near a living forest, so who knows what goes on there?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
let's see. All the way up here, we have a single island, which is very mountainous, which is surrounded by very steep cliffs, razor sharp ocean bedding. It is very, very tough to reach it with a ship. People have called it Dragon's Teeth, as stories go that this is where the elder dragons actually came from and were born. However, it's not really certain if that is so, as people tend to not go there because of the dragons. People are very easily scared. Also, the ocean around it, it's not really Bermuda Triangle, ships just disappear, but it's very ships crash into rocks very often around it. The sea is very heavy and stormy around it, and ships and large pointy rocks don't match. On the right here, you see this very, very big portion of forest area, which are the woods of Ascalon. They are inhabited mostly by elfin folk. And up north here, you can find the Igra, which is the home of the most important elvish folk. And there is a tree here that just rises up above the canopy for tens and tens and tens of meters. It's quite big. People have dubbed it the World Tree, and it's quite a sight to behold. And stories go that it actually flourished from a tree with branches.
Sorry.
No problem. It is stories go that actually the roots of this tree grow from the Feywild into this world, and that is why that tree is so large, and that is why this forest is quite big in comparison to most of the others. It stretches from the northern side of the continent almost all the way to the south as a big green barrier between the western parts and the eastern parts. Let's see. Then we have on the northern coast over here and the southern coast over here, two more mountainous areas. A lot of the dragonborn slaves that have been captured around these areas, as they are more home to dragonborn. And they're very good places to hide. They're very rugged areas. People don't like to come there. And kinda this area from this lake all the way south, they call this town Dragon's Gate, as it is kinda the area where most dragonborn have fled to, trying to stay away as far from living communities as they can. But it's not really working, as slave trade is quite abundant on this continent. It's not very nice, but people hate dragons a lot because they've kind of terrorized them over the last 500 or so years. Let's see. We have the Swirling Sea over here, which goes a little bit more inland than other parts of the ocean. As you can see, the rest of the continent is rather squared up a little bit. Ooh, my camera got stuck again. No, it didn't. No problem. The Swirling Sea goes a little bit more inland, and it's called the Swirling Sea because things like whirlpools and such happen often there.
Yeah, that's more Bermuda Triangle.
That is a little bit more Bermuda Triangle. Stories go that either a Leviathan or Uchess Kraken just sleeps on the ocean bed there. People that went in there and actually survived a whirlpool or something come home with the craziest stories about
whether they are true or not. That's a different story. But
exactly, there are a lot of places on this continent, especially most of them because of dragons, superstitious people. When people
plus, there's also the big fish story, like guys go out to sea and they catch a fish like this, and every time they tell the story, the fish gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Exactly. And with a continent that is fairly newly inhabited, written history started 576 years ago, after Duskfall, which was an event that clouded the continent in complete darkness for hundreds of years, and only after that, the event called Duskfall, when the continent got rid of the darkness, which is also a story, for a different time, talking about a little bit more about history and stuff. So this continent is rather young, and there are a lot of legends to be told about things that are hiding somewhere. And, people like to tell stories.
I've got a few. At least Zomora does.
I think most characters do.
Yeah.
So then we go a little bit to the south, which is the last real main area of this continent, which is called the Red Sea, which is a huge ass desert, almost uninhabited except for a few settlements near oases. There are a few ruins to be found here from times before Duskfall. The character Sonur Elderwind we talked about a little bit during the campaign is very interested in these areas. Most archaeologists are, especially Tirana Canyon, which is all the way to the south here. As they say, it has been unconfirmed yet, but there are stories, once again, lots of stories, that a gate to the elemental plane of Earth can be found there.
Okay. That's why it's called Terra.
Exactly. Like I said,
hey,
I am a very creative person. I mean, Igra is totally not abbreviation of Yggdrasil or something. Who knows?
And what was the name of the island? Rohan?
Yeah.
Rohan?
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's Rohan. It's Lord of the Rings.
It's
Rohan, but everyone has an afro. Rohan.
No.
What's the other map he's made? Because there are... Then I need to come in real quick.
Oh, I need to draw that, like them with helmets on, but then like the bushy curls come out from underneath.
Oh, that sounds so bad. That sounds so bad.
Or one of those top knots out of the top of the. You know where some helmets have like the hair, the like the long ponytails that come from the helmet.
Yeah,
like...
but instead it's open and an afro comes out of it.
It's an afro. No, I'm sorry. Those were bad jokes, and no blame to anyone with an afro. That actually looks awesome, but I just got the.
I have a friend who has an afro. No, Teun, the person who plays Hakan, who you haven't really seen on stream. He when he was younger, he has very curly hair, like very curly hair, and he had it a little bit longer when I first met him, which was about 10 years ago, maybe longer. and he actually had an afro. I am very.
He was your bro with a fro.
Yeah, exactly.
My brother also had a period where he wore his hair like that because he had curly hair as well. He's ginger though.
Oh, that's bad.
To be fair, it looked good on him, but well, and then it wasn't a real afro because he was ginger. But
unfortunately,
well, off topic.
Anyway, that is a little bit a global, Earth pun, description of how the continent looks. So if you hear names of cities or areas where people came from, you now know a little bit where you can find them on the map. You have a little bit of a visualization. There are a few other bigger settlements I can talk about right now. There is Meotar over here, which is kind of central to most this part of. It's almost like flat center, which is one of the bigger settlements. The current person that kind of rules over it. He kind of built up a following from ex Elder Dragon followers, so he's not really that loved. But he has some good things going for him as well. We talked a little bit about Murkwater over here, which is kind of Lizard Folk Central. Golan is a settlement where some of the people that call themselves noble, even though no one really was noble under Dragon Regiment, have established a bigger city here on the old home of one of the Elder Dragons, which kind of now purposes as his grave as well. So that's quite a bustling settlement as well. We have Arcona all the way over here in the Red Sea, which is built around a giant obsidian spire and is mostly inhabited by orcs and half orcs. The Red Sea is a very rough terrain, of course. You have to be very tough if you come from here. Very harsh place, lots of sandstorms. So the people that live there, not very friendly, sand gets everywhere, not enjoyable.
Coarse and rough, and it gets everywhere.
And
quote. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and all the way to the right over there, on the weird pointy area, is Fenrir.
Yeah, I know that place. Not from this campaign though, but.
Well, yeah, he
one shot that Nick did.
Yeah, it is built inside a meteor crater, and near it is a fairly newly established wizard sorcerer kind of school called Frostmoor. Not Frostmourne, that's a World of Warcraft thing, but Frostmoor. And one last really big settlement is over yonder on this squiggly point, which is called God's Home. And this is basically it's called God's Home because people have built a religious center here, like the Vatican. There are lots of temples here, and people who worship the gods. So yeah.
Is it did someone say sandstorm? All
right, let's stop that before we get copyrighted.
That was very Darude.
Yeah, I know.
No, what I wanted to ask, so because it's quite new and the gods are there, are there any like new gods emerging from this, or are there
No, God's home isn't literally the home of the gods.
No, I don't mean that. Like in general, in the entire world, because there's always the thing that, okay, in this world, the gods, we know that they actually exist because they give people magical powers, or is it that their belief gives them the magical powers, and there might or might not
we'll
be
go
gods,
we'll go deeper into that when we do the Gods of Aeternia stream, the Pantheon stream. There are I counted them last time. I believe we have 27 gods to talk about, so we might have to split them up into 2 streams as well, like the bigger gods and the lesser gods. But for now, I can tell you that the gods are very real.
Okay.
They have physical manifestations in their home planes, and yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about right now.
Okay. Very well.
So yeah, they are like, as a cleric or someone, you could
meet them.
You could meet. Well, technically, everyone can meet them. Anyone who can cast plane shift could meet one of the gods. But it's not like, this continent is fairly young. The gods are way older than that.
Okay, so they're pre.
They're pre-Duskfall, yeah.
Yeah.
But we're gonna talk about the creation myth and the pantheon more in depth in the stream for that.
Yeah.
Which we could do next time, actually, or I have a few ideas for what I want to talk about. We talked about geography today. I could talk about history. I could talk about factions. I could talk about the Pantheon. I think the Pantheon could be one of the more interesting ones because we've already talked about 2 of them, the Sailor and the Scholar, so it might be interesting to at least start with the 9 Divine, which are the 9 highest gods of the Pantheon and the creation myth. Okay. So when those names come around, people
they're
will
basically known by everyone. It's not possible to not know these.
It's not like one of the other gods is called a stranger. 99 out of 100 people will hear that name and know, all right, she's talking about one of the gods.
Okay, yeah. It's just to make a Critical Role reference. It's not like the Traveler or that nobody knows. There's a bunch that everyone knows. Is there also restriction on the gods?
No, you can worship any god you want. However, there are the 6 elven lords, which aren't really gods. They're more like spiritual manifestations. They are very rarely worshipped by non-elvish folk. You are allowed to, but they're not very open about their beliefs. So it's very rare for someone outside of Elvish community to worship one of those 6.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But we'll talk about them more.
Yeah.
There's another question in chat. Please talk about how awesome Minotaurs are in this setting.
Minotaurs are very awesome. Minotaurs are great.
Where do they live? Where do they come from?
Most of the folk on this continent are spread out. You will find that dwarves are more residing near mountainous areas or cavernous areas, while elvish folk tend to go towards the forest areas. But most more exclusive races like Minotaurs, let me think of a few. Dragonborn are very sparsely, but that has a different reason.
Furbolg very common?
Furbolg are more rare.
Okay.
It's not like you can walk through a town and encounter 5 Furbolg, for example.
Okay.
You can walk through a town and encounter 5 dwarves.
Yeah.
Halflings are more common and spread out. Like in the player handbook, you have a few races that are more special, like Tiefling as well. You will find those sparsely as well. Most orcish folk are from the Red Sea. You will find more beast folk there as well, like what was your race called again, Rowie?
Shifter.
Yeah, like shifters are a bit bestial as well. You will find them a bit more often in the Red Sea than on other parts of the continent. Races like Yuan-Ti are very rare. Loxodons are very rare. But most races you can basically find all over. It kind of depends on how rare the race is, if you will actually find them.
Hey, Rat Lord, I know that Zamora is very well done and not medium rare. Thank you very much.
Very well done.
She has been baked by dragons and...
No, not by dragons, but she's been baked.
She's been in an oven for 9 months.
10 years.
Well, I'm not sure how long Furbolg are pregnant, but yeah.
Oh no, I wasn't referring to that.
Oh, alright.
But everyone has to find out.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna say any more.
So yeah, any geography questions anyone still has?
Oh right, we're doing geography.
Yeah, we talked about like rivers, cities. So if you want to know anything specific, like I talked a little bit about Widow's Peak, which is the highest point on the continent.
Yeah, we know the swampy area. The Red Sea is mostly desert then, or?
Yes, the Red Sea is mostly desert. The Tirana Canyon, which is to the south, is rather large and is more mountainous and canyon-like. Of course, that's why they call it a canyon. But besides that, it is very comparable to the Sahara. Just sand everywhere.
Okay. Forest. Any other areas I can think of?
I think
I pretty much got it, but
yeah.
All right.
How do people travel like through the Red Sea? Because I think it's impossible to like walk. Like what's the
well,
useful source of travel?
You could walk through the Red Sea. Most that do bring someone like a druid or someone with them, or a cleric, or at least someone who has the capability to create food and water. So most of the time, clerics. In Arcona, you will actually find quite a few clerics, even though they are beast folk and such. It's not like they don't have religion or are not civilized or anything. They are very civilized, actually. So those that travel through the Red Sea or live in the Red Sea, most of them travel by foot or by creatures like camels or some other magical beasts. Magical camels are not magical beasts, by the way. Maybe some of them are. Who knows?
They can be if you summon them with summon steed.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. But yeah, travel through the desert takes quite a bit of preparation. It's not easily done. You need water, you need food. It can be done by foot. People with magical capabilities could like fly or teleport or stuff like that.
I just had the best idea for a magical camel.
It has three humps.
Humps of holding.
Oh my god. Well, I'm gonna homebrew that now.
I'm gonna put this in my own campaign. This is amazing.
We can create it together. That's going to be humps of holding. All right, let's go. I see a question.
If you say that out of context to someone that doesn't know what a bag of holding is, humps of holding.
I think even to someone who knows what a bag of holding is would be like, I'm sorry, you say what now?
Well, to be fair, in another campaign, I have a bra of holding. I had it made special by someone.
Wow. All right. Yeah, I noticed. Not sure how relevant this is for this lore dump, but is there any trade between the main islands? There is, actually. Lots of things from like the diamond.
Not anymore, because Fort Castra is kind of.
Well, Fort Castra is locked off, yeah. But between the islands and the mainland, because dragon scourges have stopped mostly, or almost entirely, actually, because most of them have been killed. There is trade between the communities, between the settlements. You can't really, decide, all right, I'm going to plop down a settlement here. Like Golan, for example, it is built on the cavern area of one of the elder dragons, but it's not really near water, it's not really near forest, so it is very dependent on trade with other settlements for wood, fuel, water, stuff like that. So yes, there is trade between communities. While it is sparsely, it is picking up more and more as settlements are establishing themselves and governing bodies are establishing themselves.
Okay.
I think you've got to think. Oh, right. The little eyes.
The little eyes. Yeah, the little eyes, T's. They're supposed to be pillars. There's one over here, one over here, one over here, and one all the way over there. These are noteworthy ruins of either bigger settlements or things pre-Duskfall, or things of notability. They are ruins. There are other ruins, of course, but most of them are there because of dragons burned down an entire city or something. But these are ruins that have also very archaeological interest as well.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you what are in those ruins. Yeah, I'll have to find out.
Yeah, I figured.
But there are some on the bottom and the left and to the right, but not really in the middle. Any reason for that?
Because I made it up that way.
Because you're DM, and that's why.
Exactly.
DM's choice.
Those four ruins all have a big historical significance as well to them, and they are more on the edges because of civilized life before Duskfall as well being more. Most first settlers always settle on the edges of a continent and then go inwards.
That's true,
That's why you see on outer edges, you'll see that there are either more advanced settlements or things that have been built on top of each other. So you'll find more ruins and such there. It's not like these four are the only ones, but they are the most noteworthy.
Cool. I don't have any other questions.
No.
I don't either.
No, because you know everything.
I know everything. I have so much fantasy. Or imagination. I have a lot of imagination.
Yeah. You also have a lot of fancy, because you play a lot of D&D.
I do.
Yes.
I'm also planning on writing. I like writing. That's kind of why I started DMing, because my motivation to write a book has very high ups and very low lows. Like, I can start something, not be happy with it, and not touch it for months.
Yep.
So DMing is kind of my thing to get my writing out there. This continent and most of the things that are on it have been murmuring in my head for well over 10 years now.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have been working a little bit recently on stories. Like instead of writing a whole novel, I am trying to write some short stories, all taking place on this continent as well, in my campaign settings actually. So it's
Cool.
so things.
So, merch coming soon. No.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get some real popularity, and we'll actually. Who knows? Maybe in 2 months we'll have like 500 followers, and maybe we can actually establish merch then and stuff like that. But who knows? We're just
I think 2 months is a bit steep, but
well, who knows? You never know. Like you can go viral from one day to the other.
very
wouldn't
fair.
Very true.
I'm not sure if it will happen for a D&D stream, but who knows? D&D has been becoming
tend to
more
be very long.
Yeah. But yeah, who knows? We started this because we wanted to also support our local game store and because we thought it was fun. Also Corona, so we've all been sitting at home for a very long time.
And because this guy is a very good DM.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, I'd only played at your table once, I think, in the game store, and when it popped up that you were gonna do this, I was like, oh my god, I want to do this so bad.
Actually, it's my second campaign with Nick, so that's the story.
Yep. To be fair, our group is made up of, apart from
no, we're all DMs. Tone,
really?
Yeah, Tone DMs my Ghost of Saltmarsh campaign.
Whoa!
Exactly.
Yeah, we're all
we're all DMs. So that's
to be fair,
I have to say
I've
that's
only been playing for a year, so
yeah.
I only DM one shots, and I'm now going to do like one leg of a journey in a campaign, which is gonna be like 4 sessions, and that's gonna be my test to see if I can.
I only started DMing also like for less than a year. I've been playing for about 2, I think. Yeah, when the one shot started at the Game Force.
I started playing D&D after the first lockdown in that was from March till May last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, the game store became open, and I started playing there. And then second lockdown came.
Got a dice addiction.
I have got a dice addiction since then. I think I bought like 40 sets in a year. I have a problem.
I've been playing for about 4 to 5 years now, and I played 2 sessions with a friend of mine, and then I started DMing myself. So I've been DMing for about 3 to 4 years now. I mean, there are a lot of DMs out there, I think, who are way better than me. But I like to think that I have a creative mind and I have the ability to shock people. I think I'm pretty good at like environmental descriptions come a bit tough for me. But things like I think Emily, you said it to me after the encounter with the drowned in the archives.
Yep.
The way I describe things like kills and character interactions, like the more
I got the shivers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
and I love when that happens. I also love that this just became a talking stream. You know, talking a little bit about D&D. You know, this is a bit of a less serious stream, so I don't mind. I can talk about a campaign I did with my brothers and a few of his friends. There was a moment when they went into a mine where furbolgs had goblin slaves. Not furbolgs, bugbears.
Ah, yeah.
And
furbolgs are too laid back for that.
Yeah, true. And I described a scene to them, and like most of the time it happens, you're describing a scene, and there will come a point in the scene where they think, all right, I want to interrupt here because I want to do something. And I was basically describing this bugbear was whipping a few goblins who were mining for gemstones. And one of the goblins with a chain around his neck was walking towards one of the carts and tripped with his gems rolling over the edge because you kind of know Goblin Town from The Hobbit, where there are raised wooden platforms and you can fall.
with all the rocks.
Exactly, that was kind of my
Yes, I know.
inspiration for that setting. So the gemstones went over the edge, and as an example, that bugbear decided to chain down the goblin and gave it a good whipping with a stick. And there was a point in that whipping that goblin decided, enough is enough, with a chain around his neck, with like the collar around his neck. He jumped down.
No!
And hung himself over the edge there. And while I was describing, my 4 players were just looking at me like, I can't believe you just did that.
You sick fuck.
I mean, fantasy is not always nice. There are a lot of nice things as well, but I'm a very true believer of you can't have a story without conflict.
True.
And conflict doesn't necessarily have to be war. It can also be very small, like a political disargument between 2 factions in a town. That can be a story. Or your neighbor kicked your cat. There's a conflict there. There's a story. But if you have a very nice neighbor and you go get coffee every evening and life is fun and, life is boring, there is no story there.
Fair.
True. Once at the one shot at the game course I run, and the story was that somebody ran into the bar where they all met each other, and there was a what's it called? Lady of snakes on her head.
Medusa.
A Medusa that was terrorizing her friends, and they were all turned into stone.
Oh.
And once they entered their lair, they got attacked by living statues.
That's awesome. And also like a party that runs a tavern. It's fun for like.
My party does that.
For like an hour. It's very fun. Interaction with guests. But there will come a point in the evening where
someone has to come running in and they
like
have to
like
go
we
help
have a
them
problem
because
or a bar
something-
fight starts or someone comes in and is like, you know what, you're behind on your taxes, go fix that.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Got a bar last session that was a one shot, and now I'm gonna do like a shopping episode first, and at the end of the kitty! At the end of the shopping episode, I am gonna let a tax collector come, and the next 3 sessions are them. Because they have a shopping episode, they spend all their money because there's like a magical fair in town where they can buy magical items and whatnot. And like the 3 sessions after, they need to haul ass to get money to pay their taxes because otherwise they're gonna go to jail.
Awesome. All right, I want you guys to spend money, lots of it, and when you've spent everything, I'm gonna take away what you don't have.
Here comes the tax collector.
That's amazing.
You meanie.
Yep. I hope they can't resist buying stuff. Because otherwise,
I can be a very greedy D&D player, and I have like 500 gold. I will spend a maximum of 250 of it.
Well, we have a 14-year-old, a 17-year-old, and an 18-year-old. I think those will just buy everything.
Yeah, they're a bit more. It also kind of depends on the character I'm playing. If I'm like playing an impulsive character with like low wisdom, money goes out the window. But if I'm playing a more wisdom-based or intelligent character, I played a Tabaxi merchant once. He was a ranger rogue multiclass, And he was very stingy on his money because, he was a trader, so he knows what things are worth. And it happened quite often, I really want to buy this, and it would be very useful to my character, but it's way too expensive, so I'm gonna wait till I have more money, and then I go back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, let's just hope that they don't think like that.
And on the other side, there's the character I play in the other campaign, Owl in the Morning, at the backseat, that just spends her money willy-nilly, buying drinks for everybody, buying an expensive dress because she doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I'm gonna buy this tavern around. There are 50 people in here. I don't care.
That's 100 gold.
She definitely, if she had the gold for it, she would do that. Yes.
Yeah.
And now Nick's gonna hold me to that.
Yeah, true. I'm just gonna roll a D100 to see how many people are in this tavern.
1.
That would be hilarious. Like,
yeah.
You will never get that on a divine intervention, but when you're rolling for people in a tavern, you'll get a 1 on a D100.
Yep.
You know what oh, you don't know. Never mind. Oh, you do know. You do know. You did watch episode 140.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So I know.
You rolled a freaking 2!
Yeah, I know.
People who watch Critical Role know what I'm talking about.
I mean, yeah.
No, I don't. I still need to start.
Oh, goody. They just had the last episode of Campaign 2, so you can start when they do Campaign 3 and tag along when they start.
Yeah, cool. I mean, everyone knows Critical Role, of course. I think
if you're into D&D,
if you're into D&D, you've heard of them. I'm a big fan. I get that some people maybe not because of some things related. Like I've heard the Matt Mercer effect thrown around sometimes as well. But I also personally think Critical Role was very good to get it into the mainstream because it is so popular. But I think every DM has its own thing. Matthew Mercer is very immersive. I've played with DMs that are less immersive, but they have very good world building, or they have like every session you have combat, but the combat is so visceral and nail biting, it just makes it awesome. And I think every DM has something. And when I first started DMing, it was around the same time someone introduced me to Critical Role as well, and I was like, that guy is very good. I want to be like him, and
he's too good. Yeah.
And now, I think, as long as my players have fun, and I mean, you just complimented me as well, and it means a lot to me. Like, as long as my players have fun, the rest is out the window. I want my players to have fun. That's all I want. And if that is because they love combat, I will do combat. If they like role-playing a lot, we'll do role-playing. I mean, we've had one combat encounter during the campaign so far. But you guys are already so immersed in your characters, and you stay in character, which I love.
I almost cried as my character already won.
Wow.
That was episode 2.
Yeah, I get.
I mean, that's just the start of the campaign. That's just the start.
Yeah, like last time, I had a whole bunch of questions, but my character isn't that smart, so I implemented those questions into my character. I thought that was really fun to do.
Yeah.
But also, like, last session, you were ready to already sacrifice yourself for the greater good. And I know that is built into your character, but that is a moment for me like, all right, they are going for it.
Yep, that's my character. So if he would do that, I have to play like that.
I want to hug the kitty. My kitty is asleep.
He's a samurai for a reason, you know. He would sacrifice him for the great good.
But you'll have to come over, and I'll have to work tomorrow, so don't come over tonight. Oh, don't jump away. Oh, no. She's fine. She's fine.
No, I have to work as well. Anyways, the thing that you said about the Matt Mercer effect, I think what it is people, like you said, I want to be like you, but when people start with D&D with watching Critical Role, they have a certain idea of how it's played. And then when you go into a game store and you do it yourself, it is going to be completely different.
Yeah.
And people need to be prepared for that because, like you said, not everyone is as good as Matt Mercer. And you don't have to be, because, like you said, everyone has their thing that they're good at.
Yeah, exactly. And
For
I think there are DMs
I like
that are
the
better than
telling
Matt
how a
Mercer.
room looks and having my characters in, like you said, nail biting encounters. I try to go to the boundary of TPK with every fight I do. Like,
yes.
I mean, not every encounter has to be like that, but if it's an important encounter, for example, my players in a different campaign, they went to the hometown of one of the characters. They had a problem with skeletal incursions, and they went into the bowels underneath this dwarven city. And they have been working. They started this journey like 15, well, not 15, like 10 sessions ago. They planned, like, all right, we want to go there. So they went from all the way over here to there, with everything in between encounters. They're a party that are very combat heavy. They like combat a lot. So when they finally reached his home and there was a problem, I knew that was supposed to be an encounter that was going to be tough for them. So I created a very tough boss. I created a big dungeon with traps and enemies. And
is this the one you told me about? Oh yeah, this is the one you told me about already.
yeah, and they were very close to a TPK. The only reason they didn't was because they had a goat with them who was polymorphed, who was actually a polymorphed sorcerer, a very high level polymorphed sorcerer. And
yes, you told me about this.
Because of an area of effect that the boss did, the goat dropped to 0 hit points, became that sorcerer, and that sorcerer was able to, just in the nick of time, slay the boss. If that happened a turn later, the dwarf who was frontlining this boss and was keeping him off the rest of the party, because everyone was low, like the cleric also almost went down. If that happened a turn later, the dwarf would have died. And it would have been amazing, because he would have died defending his home, and it would have been an amazing story.
Yep.
But they were lucky. But that was probably one of the most nail-biting combat encounters I've ever
done. Yeah, in that Medusa encounter I ran, those statues were in the, so to say, boss room of the dungeon they had to go through. And yeah, that also ended in TPK because I didn't balance it exactly in their favor. Because I used a CR1 stat block for it, and the total didn't exactly match their level. It was a little bit too high.
Ooh.
Yeah, that happened.
But hey, they had fun, and
that counts. As long as they have fun, it counts. I mean, I did.
So the next time I'm gonna run this at the Game Force, there will be more statues in the room, and the level will be higher.
Nice.
Because one of them got.
Remind me not to play Airtable again.
I TPK'd.
No.
I TPK'd a party once.
Because one of them got transformed into stone by Hydra, by Medusa.
Yeah.
Oh, by the Medusa.
My first game at the game store was technically a sort of TPK, because I was the only survivor. The rest of my crew died, but I became feeble-minded and walked around the magical circus place for the rest of eternity.
I TPK'd a party once. I was running the first chapter of Ghosts of Saltmarsh with the haunted house. And I had 6 players instead of 4. Like, most campaign books are set for 4 players, and the book said this part of the story is level 1. And I was like, there are quite a few encounters in there. There are even like a quarter seer things that can kill a low level wizard, in 1 round, because low level wizards. But
they have 6 hit points.
If they were smart, I think they might have been able to get more out of there, but only the fighter survived and escaped. Everyone who knows Ghosts of Saltmarsh, in the basement of the haunted house, there are 2 ways you can go. There is a bookshelf you can take away from the wall. There is a secret cave there. There are smugglers there. They have a sorcerer with them. It's a tough encounter, but but 6 level 1 characters should be easily do that. In that same basement, there is a door that says danger. It is barricaded. Behind that door are 4 skeletons and a skeletal alchemist behind a second door. What did my party do? They split up, opened both doors at once. So the rogue, who was...
Never split the party!
The rogue died, just instantly died the first round. She opened the door with the skeletons behind it, and I said they all come rushing out and make a slash attack against you. And I am... If I say something, I will do it. So even if the first 2 would have knocked her down, the last 2 would still strike her, because I said it. So she was attacked by 4 skeletons. All 4 of them hit. 1 of them critted. The rogue was instantly dead. And that was round 1 of the encounter. 2 rounds later, only the fighter and the druid were standing, and the fighter decided to flee, and the druid went out in a blaze of glory with a big fire spell. But yeah, he couldn't get out. But it made for a fun story, and I could use it again the next session, as I did the second part of Chapter 1 with a new party, and they met a fighter that just escaped from the house, and they teamed up with her to get rid of the smugglers.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
Yeah, I was in that second party, I believe.
Yeah, you were. And I did a level 8 Bloodborne one-shot once with custom weapons, with music as well. And, Bloodborne and Dark Souls, they're very tough games. That was a very tough one-shot. They were on the brink of dying a lot. The boss fight was... I made a stat block for Vicar Amelia, and she healed 30 hit points at the start of each round. They dealt a total of 550 damage to her before she finally went down. And it was a party of 4, and 1 was unconscious, and the other 3 were below half at least.
Oof.
Yeah. And that was after the encounter with 2 church giants. They went into that boss fight almost below half already.
Yeah, it's never a good idea.
True.
That's what DMs do, though. Make a little encounter to at least nick up the party a little bit, and then do the big encounter.
Exactly. Or like 2 small encounters, or like 1 small encounter and a few traps.
Yep.
The D&D 5e is very designed for multiple encounters before you get a rest.
Yeah. There's supposed to be 4 encounters, which could be fights, but could also be traps or a puzzle or that sort of thing.
Yes.
At least that is what I've heard. But no, my best one was where I let them go to the 5th layer of hell.
Also fun.
To rescue a princess. Oh, it was so good. One of them nearly died because he refused to give a coin to the ferryman of
Whoa.
Nice.
Kieran. And he just tried to walk in the boat, and he nearly got pushed into the river Styx,
Awesome.
which would have consumed him. He was smart though, and he walked back and decided to grab a rock and throw it in the river Styx, and saw what happened to it because ghosts start to float out of the river to consume the rock that was just floating on top, and then they pulled it down, and he was like, "Yeah, no, let's not do that."
Here, have a coin.
That was fun. I love that one. That's a good one shot. I want to do that one again. Exactly. Here, take it. I don't mind.
All right.
Yeah.
He also nearly became the new ferryman. He would have almost set Kieran free. Well,
that would be awesome. All right. We'll have plenty more stories to tell, and we'll
do that next time.
Yeah, we'll chat again next time. Maybe I think I'll split up the Pantheon into 2 parts. So we'll have a part talking about gods, a part chatting again with my players, because this is fun as well, and I enjoy it. Yeah. So
plus, people get to ask questions about our D&D as well as the Pantheon, which might be fun.
Yes.
So next Monday, episode 5 of the stream, we're gonna end the first short arc. I mean, not all arcs.
Hope.
not all arcs have to be 20 episodes, you know. So
that's true.
And to be fair, we're only level 3.
Yeah, we're level 3, so hopefully we'll have a very long way to go. And
let's hope so.
So
indeed.
yeah, we'll see you.
4.
Level 4. So we'll see you next Monday. The VOD of this video will be available on YouTube the following Friday, and the Monday after next Monday, so in 2 weeks, we'll start with the creation myth and the 9 divine, and we'll leave the rest of the gods for an episode later. Thanks everyone in chat who joined and asked questions. It was very fun, and we'll see you next time. Good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.